All praises. All praises to Yahweh. Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. All praises due. Peace and blessing to the elect of Israel who are out there practicing or following the law of liberty. All right, so we're going to continue in second book of Baruch. Second book of Baruch. And I think we left off at chapter 35, so we're going to get right into it. We're going to start out with chapter 36. And when I had said these things, I fell asleep. There and I saw a vision in the night, and lo, a forest of trees planted on the plain, and lofty and rugged rocky mountains surrounded it. And that forest occupied much space. And lo, over against it arose a vine, and from under it there went forth a fountain peacefully. Now that fountain came to the forest and was stirred into great waves, and those waves submerged that forest, and suddenly they rooted out the greater part of that forest, and overthrew all the mountains which were round about it. And the height of the forest began to be made low, and the top of the mountains were made low, and that fountain prevailed greatly, so that it left nothing of that great forest save one cedar only. Also, when it had cast it down and had destroyed and rooted out the greater part of that forest, so that nothing was left of it, nor could its place be recognized, then that vine began to come from the fountain in the peace and great tranquility, and it came to a place which was not far from that cedar, and that brought the cedar from which had been cast down to it. And I behold, and lo, that vine opened its mouth and spake and said to that cedar, Art thou not that cedar which was left of the forest of wickedness? By those means wickedness persisted, and was wrought all those years, and goodness never. And thou didst keep conquering that which was not thine, and to that which was thine thou didst never show compassion, and thou didst keep extending thy power over those who were far from thee, and those who drew nigh thee. Thou didst hold fast in the toils of thy wickedness, and thou didst uplift thyself always as one that could not be rooted out. But now thy time has sped, and thy hour is come. Do thou also therefore depart, O cedar, from the forest, which departed before thee, and become dust with it, and let your ashes be mingled together, and now recline in anguish, and rest in torment, till thy last time come, in which thou wilt come again, and be tormented still more. Chapter 37. And after these things I saw that cedar burning, and the vine glowing, itself and all around it, the plain full of unfading flowers, and I indeed awoke and arose. Chapter 38. And I prayed and said, O Lord, my Lord, thou dost always enlighten those who are led by understanding. Thy law is life. Thy wisdom is right guidance. Make known to me, therefore, the interpretation of this vision. For thou knowest that my soul hath always walked in thy law, and from my earliest days I departed not from thy wisdom. Chapter 39. And he answered and said unto me, Baruch, this is the interpretation of the vision which thou hast seen. As thou hast seen the great forest, which lofty and rugged mountains surrounding this, is the word. Behold, the days come, and this kingdom will be destroyed, which once destroyed Zion, and it will be subject to that which comes after it. Moreover, that also again after a time will be destroyed. And another, a third, will arise, and that also will have dominion for its time, and will be destroyed. And after these things, a fourth kingdom will rise, whose power will be harsh, evil, far beyond those which were before it. And it will rule many times as the forest on the plain, and it will hold fast for times, and will exalt itself more than the cedar of Lebanon. And by it the truth will be hidden, and all those who are polluted with iniquity will flee to it. And evil beasts flee and creep into the forest. And it will come to pass when the time of the consummation that it should fall as approach, then the principle of my Messiah will be revealed, which is like the fountain and the vine. And when it is revealed, it will root out the multitude of his hosts. And as touching that which thou hast seen, the lofty cedar which was left of that forest, and the fact that the vine spoke those words which thou didst hear, this is the word. Chapter 40. The last cedar of that time will be left alive, and when the multitude of his hosts will be put to the sword, and he will be bound, and they will take him up to Mount Zion, and my Messiah will convict him of all his impurities, and will gather and set before him all the works of his hosts. And afterwards he will put him to death, and protect the rest of my people, which shall be found in the place which I have chosen. And his principle will stand forever, until the world of corruption is at end, and until the times aforesaid are fulfilled. This is thy vision. This is its interpretation. Chapter 41. And I answered and said, for whom and for how many shall these things be? Or who will be worthy to live at that time? For I will speak before thee everything that I think, and I will ask of thee regarding those things which I meditate. For lo, I see many of thy people who have withdrawn from thy covenant, and cast from them the yoke of thy law. But others again I seen who have forsaken their vanity, and fled for refuge beneath thy wings. What therefore will be to them? Or how will the last time receive them? Or perhaps the time of those will assuredly be weighed. And as the beam inclines, will they be judged accordingly? Chapter 42. And he answered and said unto me, these things also will I show unto thee. As for what thou didst say, to whom will these things be, and how many will they be? To those who have believed there should be the good which was spoken of aforetime, and to those who despise there should be the contrary of these things. And as for what thou didst say regarding those who have drawn near and those who have withdrawn, this is the word. As for those who were before subject and afterwards withdrew, and mingled themselves with the seed of mingled people, the time of these was the former, and was accounted as something exalted. And as for those who before knew not, but afterwards knew life, and mingled only with the seed of the people which have separated itself, the time of these is the latter, and is accounted as something exalted. And time shall succeed to time, and season to season, and one shall receive from another, and then with a view to the consummation shall everything be compared according to the measure of the times and the hours of the season. For corruption shall take those that belong to it, and life to those that belong to it. And the dust shall be called, and there shall be said to it, give back that which is not thine, and raise up all that thou hast kept until its time. Chapter 43. But do thou, Baruch, direct thy heart to which has been said to thee, and understand those things which have been shown to thee. For there are many internal constellations for thee. For thou shalt depart from this place, and thou shalt pass from the regions which are now seen by thee, and thou shalt forget whatever is corruptible, and thou shalt not again recall those things which happen among mortals. Go therefore and command thy people, and come to this place, and afterwards fast 7 days, and then I will come to thee and speak with thee. Chapter 44. And I, Baruch, went from thence and came to my people, and I called my firstborn son in the Gildads, my friends, and 7 of the elders of the people, and I said unto them, Behold, I go unto my fathers, according to the way of all the earth. But withdraw ye not from the way of the law, but guard and admonish the people which remain. lest they withdraw from the commandments of the Mighty One. For ye see that he whom we serve is just, and our Creator is no respect of persons. And see ye what has befallen Zion, and what has happened to Jerusalem. For the judgment of the Mighty One shall thereby be made known, and his ways which thou pass find it out are right. For if ye endure and preserve in his fear, and do not forget his law, the time should change over you for good, and ye shall see the consolation of Zion. Because whatever is now is nothing, but that which shall be is very great. For everything that is corruptible shall pass away, and everything that dies shall depart, and all the present times shall be forgotten, nor shall there be any remembrance of the present times, which is defiled with evil. For that which runs now runs unto vanity, and that which prospers shall quickly fall and be humiliated. For that which is to be shall be the object of desire, but that which comes afterward shall we hope. For it is a time that passes not away, and the hour comes which abides forever, and the new world comes which does not turn to corruption. Those who depart to its blessedness, and has no mercy on those who depart to torment, and leads not to perdition those who live in it. For these are they who shall inherit that time which has been spoken of, and theirs is the inheritance of the promised time. These are they who have acquired for themselves treasures of wisdom, and with them are found stores of understanding. And from mercy have they not withdrawn, and the truth of the law have they preserved. For to them shall be given the world to come, but the dwelling of the rest, who are many, shall be in the fire. Chapter 45. Do ye therefore so far as ye are able to instruct the people, for that labor is ours. For if ye teach them, ye will quicken them. Chapter 46. And my son and the elders of the people answered and said unto me, Has the Mighty One humiliated us to such a degree as to take thee from us quickly? And truly we shall be in darkness, and there shall be no light to the people who are left. For where again shall we seek the law? Or who will distinguish us between death and life? And I said unto them, The throne of the Mighty One I cannot resist. Nevertheless, there shall not be wanting to Israel a wise man, nor a son of the law to the race of Jacob. But only prepare ye your hearts, that ye may obey the law, and be subject to those who in fear are wise and understanding. And prepare your souls, that ye may not depart from them. For if ye do these things, good tidings shall come unto you, which I before told you, or nor shall ye fall into torment, of which I testify to you before. But with regards to the word that I was to be taken, I did not make it known to them or to my son. Chapter 47. And when I had gone forth and dismissed them, I went thence and said unto them, Behold, I go to Hebron, for thither the Mighty One has sent me. And I came to that place where the word had been spoken unto me, and I sat there and fasted 7 days. Chapter 48. And it came to pass after the 7th day that I prayed before the Mighty One and said, O my Lord, thou summest the advent of times, and they stand before thee. Thou causest the power of the ages to pass away, and they do not resist thee. Thou arrangest the method of the seasons, and they obey thee. Thou alone knowest the duration of the generations, and thou revealest not thy mysteries to many. Thou makest known the multitude of the fire, and thou weighest the lightness of the wind. Thou explorest the limit of the heights, and thou scrutinizest the depth of darkness. Thou carest for the number which pass away, that they may be preserved. And thou preparest an abode for those that are to be. Thou rememberest the beginning which thou hast made, and the destruction that is to be. Thou forgettest not. With nods of fear and indignation, thou commandest the flames, and they change into spirits. And with a word thou quicken that which was not, and with mighty power thou holdest that which has not yet come. Thou instructest created things in the understanding of thee, and thou makest wise the spirits so as to minister in their orders. Armies innumerable stand before thee, and minister in their orders quietly at thy nod. Hear thy servant, and give ear to my petition. For in a little time are we born, in a little time do we return. But with thee hours are as a time, and the days as generations. Be not therefore wroth with man, for he is nothing, and take not account of our works. For what are we? For lo, by thy gifts do we come into the world, and we depart not of our own will. For we said not to our parents, begat us, nor did we send to Sheol and say, receive us. What therefore is our strength, that we should bear thy wrath? Or what are we, that we should endure thy judgment? Protect us in thy compassion and in thy mercy. Help us. Behold the little ones that are subject to thee, and save all that draw nigh unto thee, and destroy not the hope of our people, and cut not short the times of our aid. For this is the nation which thou hast chosen, and these are the people to whom thou findest no equal. But I will speak now before thee, and I will say as my heart thinketh. In thee do we trust, for lo, thy law is with us, and we know that we shall not fall so long as we keep thy statutes. To all times are we blessed, at all events, in this that we have not mingled with the Gentiles. But we are all one celebrated people, who have received one law from one, and the law which is amongst us will aid us, and the surpassing wisdom which is in us will help us. And when I have prayed and said these things, I was greatly weakened. And he answered and said unto me, Thou hast prayed simply, O Baruch, and all thy words have been heard. But my judgment exacts his own, and my laws exacts his rights. For from thy word I will answer thee, and from thy prayer I will speak to thee. But this is the following: he that is corrupted is not at all. He has brought wrought iniquity so far as he could do anything, and has not remembered my goodness, nor accepted my long suffering. Therefore thou shalt surely be taken up, as I before told thee. For that time shall arise, which bringeth affliction, but it shall come to pass by with quick vehement, and shall be turbulent coming in the heat of indignation. And it shall come to pass in those days that all the inhabitants of the earth shall be moved one against another, because they know not my judgment had drawn nigh. For there shall not be found many wise at that time, and the intelligent shall be but a few. Moreover, even those who know shall most of all be silent, and there shall be many rumors and tidings, not a few, in the doing of phantasmati shall be manifested. I ain't never heard that word, phantasmati. Phantasmata shall be manifested, and promises not a few be recounted. Some of them shall prove idle, and some of them shall be confirmed. And honor shall be turned into shame, and strength humiliated into contempt, and probity destroyed. And beauty shall become ugliness, and many shall say to many at that time, Where hath the multitude of intelligence hidden itself? And whether hath the multitude of wisdom removed itself? And whilst they are meditating these things, then envy shall arise in those who have not thought aught of themselves, and passion shall seize him that is peaceful. And many shall be stirred up in anger to injure many, and they shall rouse up armies in order to shed blood. And in the end they shall perish together with them. And it shall come to pass at the selfsame time that a change of time shall manifestly appear to every man, because in all those times they polluted themselves, and they practiced oppression, and walked every man in his own works, and remember not the law of the mighty one. Therefore a fire shall consume their thoughts, and a flame shall the mediation of their reins be tired. For the judge shall come and will not tarry, because each of the inhabitants of the earth knew when he was transgressing. But my law they knew not by reason of their pride. But many shall then assuredly weep, yea, over the living more than over the dead. And I answered and said, O Adam, what hast thou done to all those who are born from thee? And what will be said to this first Eve who hearkened to the serpent? For all this multitude are going to corruption, nor is there any numbering of those whom the fire devoured. But again I will speak in thy presence. Thou, O Lord, my Lord, knowest what is in thy creature. For thou didst of old commanded the dust to produce Adam, and thou knowest the numbers of those who are born from him, and how far they have sinned before thee, who have existed and not confessed thee as the Creator. And as regards to all these, their end shall convict them, and thy law, which they have transgressed, shall requite them thy day. But now let us dismiss the wicked and inquire about the righteous, and I will recount their blessedness, and not be silent in celebrating their glory, which is reserved for them. For assuredly, as in a little time, in their transitory world in which ye live, ye have endured much labor. So in that world to which there is no end, ye shall receive great light. Chapter 49. Nevertheless, I will again ask from thee, O mighty one. Yea, I will ask mercy from him who made all things. And what shape will those live who lives in that day? Or how will the splendor of those who are after that time continue? Will they then resume this form of the present? But on these intramitable members, which are now involved in evil, and in which evils are consummated, or wilt thou change these things which have been in the world, as also the world? Chapter 50. And he answered and said unto me, Hear, Baruch, this word, and write in the remembrance of thy heart all that thou shalt learn. For the earth shall then assuredly restore the dead, which is now received, in order to preserve them. It shall make no change in their form, but that it has received shall it restore them. And as I deliver them unto it, so also shall it raise them. For then it will be necessary to show to the living that the dead have come to life again, and that those who have departed have returned again. And it shall come to pass, when they have severely recognized those whom they now know, then judgment shall grow strong, and those things which before were spoken of shall come. So I'm going to stop right there. There's a lot of meat in that, man. Whew. So like I always say, man, listen to this video a couple of times, meditate on it. It's a lot of reading, but this is a deep book. It's a lot of information he's talking about. He's pretty much spelling out what's happening right now and what's going to happen. It's all right here. So as I always say, man, just listen to the video, man. Take some time and listen to it, and just really kind of like meditate on it. May Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai bless you. You guys have a good day.